Hello and welcome. I'm Zilla,
I am Tortoise.
and this is my stream, Ancient Gaming, where we play video games with ancient studies content and talk about it. Today we are returning to Hades 2, a game about fighting the Titan Kronos to get our family back, going up to Mount Olympus and down to the underworld. Welcome if you are new, and welcome back if you've been here before. If you are here live, we'd love to hear from you live in chat, so please do say hello. Also, we have been fighting some interruption issues on the live stream, so if you do experience that, I'm very sorry. We will be right back. And we will be recording the whole thing, so there shouldn't be any problems if you're watching the video. Hopefully there won't be any problems either way, but if you are interested but want to start from the beginning and or unspoiled, please do feel free to go check out the rest of the stream we've done on Hades 2 from the beginning. All of my videos are up on here on Twitch for as long as they'll stay, but also I do port them over to my YouTube channel, Zilla's Athenaeum. All of the socials and things are down in the bottom of the frame. Yeah, we are going to do a very brief recap in case you have not been following along with us. So, we are playing this game as Melinoe. How odd. The world. It's odd. Melinoe, daughter of Hades and Persephone, the Greek gods of the underworld, and his queen. We are fighting to free them from our grandfather, the Titan Kronos, here conflated with Chronos, or time, who has captured them and is taking the underworld for himself. And he's also sent a bunch of his minions up to attack Olympus, keeping the gods busy on their end. So we are fighting both up and down from a liminal space known as the Crossroads. Today we have with us our froggy friend Phrynos. Phrynos actually being the Greek word for toad, but cute. And we are fighting with the twin flames, double torches, a symbol of the goddess of witchcraft, Hecate, who is our trainer in this game. Our foster mother, as it were. We going up today?
Yes.
Let's head upstairs. Let's fight some Titan chaff.
We had in fact prevailed, but only temporarily.
Time cannot be stopped? Question mark. So that's Hera, the queen of the gods, and her lovely peacock designs. And her lovely, sort of imperious, condescending way. So, I'm in a bit of an etymology mood today. I was looking into... Oh! Very dramatic. Ooh, fishy. So, the dead rising is a symbol of the disrupted, or a sign, I should say, of the disrupted underworld. Kronos is not, in fact, being very good to those he now rules. So the first thing I wanted to mention in regards to my etymology sleuthing for the day is that I was watching Tortoise go through all of the, the not as exciting parts where he goes through all of the, like, upgrades and potions and whatever, you know the words and I don't.
Oh, Arcana and Grasp and all that.
Yes. And I noticed that the thing that we get when we do vanquish the Titan Kronos in a fight is called Z Sand. And I said, well, what's that Z stand for? Apparently it's Zodiac. So I was thinking about that, and I guess I've never really thought about what Zodiac meant before, but...
I mean, I believe that the Zo is like life because
Yes.
it's mostly animals.
That's exactly correct. So, Zoon is the Greek verb to live, and Zoe is life, as in a being, alive, an animal, generally. So you might also notice that I'm pronouncing that Z as more of a zda. That's generally how we understand that ancient Greek zeta was pronounced, although modern Greek zeta, or zeta, I think, is not. So I wondered about that Zodiacos. I mean, Diakos didn't sound like a word to me. So I was trying to kind of figure out what that trailing end was. And it turns out that it's not just directly from zdon, an animal, or zdoe, but from a diminutive, zodion. So that is like a little animal or a figurine or a constellation of an animal. And so that word can in Greek be used to mean a figure in the zodiac, and in plural can mean all of them together. There's even a citation for Herodotus for that usage, and then it used to be Zodiacon Kuklos, the circle of the little animals, the circle of the constellations. So the cycle of time in the sky, which I just thought was really nice. Figured you might all enjoy. And as for how I came to most of those conclusions, I did just want to show off some of my books, some of my tricks. This is the Middle Little, is the usual name for it. It's Liddell and Scott's Greek English lexicon. It is one direction from ancient Greek to English, but it is very, very good. There are, of course, the full Liddell and Scott, and there's also an abridged version for different depths. But once you look up a word, when you know where to start from, you can find all sorts of things, different forms of it, where we find it in the corpus of the Greek existing at the time of writing. Sometimes it is updated. The first edition of this was printed in 1889, which you might notice the name Liddell, as in Alice Liddell. Yes, it is that Liddell. It was her father is the Liddell who wrote this dictionary, along with Scott, a colleague of his. I also double-checked some of my thoughts with an online etymology dictionary. I particularly like Etymology Online, or etymonline.com. It is very good and very thorough and gives you a lot of dates and further permutations. All the gods here are commenting on our progress last time, wherein we did, in fact, slay the Titan, which is how I got started on this zodiac path. And by we, I of course mean Tortoise, who is doing all of the hard work. Sometimes there are just games that I would rather watch than play. I'm not much of a fighter. Well, I'm more of a fighter in real life than I am in video games. The other etymology thing that I wanted to chat about was I have been seeing in the meme circuit people getting back on the back of the Odyssey movie coming out, which is, of course, the source of much hilarity in many directions. And in particular, there's one person who made a post saying, "Ah, yes, which is, of course, a joke about how they write the Odyssey in bad Greek. They use Greek letters to mimic English letters rather than to just be the Greek letters that they are, which is a very common thing, and very silly. So yes, I made that joke when it first, when the first promos came out, and so I've been joking with people that the person who posted it and went viral and stole it from me. Of course they did not steal it from me. I mean, it's an obvious joke to make if you know any Greek at all, modern or ancient. It's very funny looking. But I did notice that person's username was Aletheia. And I was reminded, I guess this is less of a lookup because I already knew this, but I did just confirm it because it's been a while since I looked at it. But one of the first sets of Greek words that I learned when I was younger and just getting interested in this stuff was aletheia means the truth, and aletheia means stupidity. And they are one letter different, at least in some dialects of Greek. And that just tickles me pink. Man, they are very dire about this, aren't they? Oh, he killed him and he's still coming back. Like, well, you killed him too. Oh, fun side note, etymologically speaking. She said electric there, but the property of electricity was commonly associated with amber, the resin or gem, whatever you want to call it, in ancient Greece, and in fact that was called electrum. This is something that if you've ever read or watched The Golden Compass or his Dark Materials, same series, you'll know from Lyra's world what they call anbaric is what we call electric, and they call amber electrum. And this is why, is because they're etymologically linked in that way. Bye, little sheepies. What talk is he referring to?
Just me always trying to make conversation at the beginning of each fight. And using fancy words to, I guess, confuse him.
Well, interestingly, echoing a common two-way complaint between ancient Athens and ancient Sparta. Athenians often joked that Spartans speak like ignorant children, or like they just, or like people who never learned their grammar. Various jokes about that, many of them less sensitive than the phrasings I just used. Meanwhile, the Spartans joked that the Athenians spent so much time on their fancy words and their double talk that they never learned how to punch. Or get anything done, for that matter. Well, I guess that sentiment has been echoed throughout history in many ways. As someone on the wordy end, I like to think that I'm pretty good at getting things done anyway. Have a nice nap.
There is an old adage which goes, one would be wise never to strike a sleeping cyclops, and instead carefully walk by. But at times, exceptions must be made.
I might make one of those exceptions now.
Sounds more like it's about the Hinox in Zelda than this Cyclops.
Must be where Polyphemus lives. Ugh.
I forgot to equip a good keepsake at the beginning. So what now?
You have what? Hera, Zeus, and Apollo?
And Demeter.
Oh, I missed Demeter. Talking too much.
Got her in the shop.
Now, you had a special friend you wanted to check for here before we move on. There she is!
Hello, kitty. Would you like some Witch's Delight?
What a beautiful kitten.
Something. If this trait is to your liking, then it means we share a bond. We do. Your name is Tula, isn't it? Let us protect each other from now on.
Tula?
No training grounds. The spectral gate is still intact.
So I did look up the name Tula because it didn't strike me as anything in particular, and it seems that it's either short for a fairly common modern Greek name or a dialect word meaning kitty. And that's probably both accurate in this case, would be my guess. You might notice that Tula doesn't particularly look like most domesticated cats. She looks a lot more like a wild cat, and that is probably not an accident, as domestic cats were not a thing in ancient Greece for most of its existence. I mean, they certainly were in Egypt, but they didn't really make their way up to Greece until Rome adopted Bastet worship. Bastet being the cat-headed Egyptian goddess of protection and healing, and cats, of course, because cats are just good. We do have some recently reinforced by genetic analysis information that domestic cats in at least most of the world do come from a strain of Egyptian cat that the Romans brought over. So it wasn't really generally adopted until the Roman Empire. Not that there aren't other strains of domesticated cat, because there are certainly Chinese strains and mixes, and even modern ones, modern servals being domesticated and bred with other domestic cats. Although the term domesticated is kind of interesting when it comes to cats, because we really haven't changed them much from their wild counterparts. It's more like tamed. But yeah, it turns out that they really weren't bred as mousers originally. They were bred as sacred animals for Bastet worship, for protection. Man, those harpies really tearing it up.
I'm probably gonna die soon.
Perhaps. Surprised you didn't want the nectar.
I feel like I have enough nectar for now.
Ashes for upgrades, nectar for friendship.
Oh boy, this is almost certainly going to kill me.
Let's make one of the gods mad. This'll go well. So while I'm on my showing off my books kick, I also brought out the American Heritage Dictionary of Indo-European Roots just to show off, because this teeny tiny little book is incredibly fun, and I pull it out more than almost anything else on my nonfiction shelves. So it has a very good introduction by Calvert Watkins, who is a very famous Indo-Europeanist. The main part of the book does just list your Indo-European roots by the reconstructed root form, and then it tells you a bunch about their modern outcomes and things it's related to. But the index, index is not the right word, the back, the reference part, you can look up a modern English word and see what root it has, and then go look that up and see what it's related to. So, very handy book, this one. Hey, you're up on Olympus. You made it off the boat.
No, I did not.
Oh, no?
No, this happens when you, for the trial specifically.
Oh.
I'm on an island.
Oh, it's an island.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm about to die, so I'd appreciate fewer distractions for the moment.
Noted. I will keep talking about my own stuff then. Whew. And if that just doesn't say it all right there. It's a great attitude for the Greek gods to take. Self-healing sounds awesome.
It's a bit too little too late, but...
Sorry about distracting you. You know, I did not realize this was an island at all. I wonder if they're talking about the Corinthian Games or the Olympian Games. There are a lot of games, actually, both annual festivals for the gods and like funerary games, and it's very common sort of interaction among different communities. Athleticism was generally highly prized.
Didn't you say we were looking up Ephyra before, and one of the possibilities was there was another name for Corinth?
Yeah, that's why I thought maybe the Corinthian Games. If they're going with the narrative Cersei! I love her so much. She's so cute. Oh, can you take a screenshot of that?
Is that this?
Thank you. Do. Not planning to use that in a chapter I'm writing for something or anything. Assuming I ever get around to writing it.
You know what? I only have one vow. It's not so bad, but at least I know what I'm getting.
Going to talk about something about Cersei. Oh, we were talking the other day about how Cersei seems like a very, good witch, right? She's using very wholesome ingredients. Cattle milk and little seeds. Oh, ouch.
Didn't even get to Eris, though she would have slaughtered me. Yeah, I just did not have health.
Yeah. We've got time for a second try, if you'd like. That being a... brood. I mean, sometimes they were happy together. Easy to idealize what you've never experienced. Oh dear.
Oh.
Oh no. I have concerns. Yeah, those two. Just gonna be a problem. So that all sort of referring to the mythology of the moon. When it is a new moon, she is said to be resting beyond the horizon, or under the earth, as the sun does each night. And when the sun and moon are in the sky, they are seen as the all-seeing eyes who watch over everything that passes beneath them.
So might it be. Headmistress, if I may, my scarlet work revealed yourselves to me, your true connection to the earth, I see.
Interesting. What did that one do?
It means I can improve my tools.
Ah.
So might it be.
And just to go back over, since it's been a while since I mentioned Kataskion Aski and Askion Kataski are reveal what is hidden and conceal what is unearthed.
Weighing down on me. I've been questioning about that before.
Magic won't be resolved. I'm impressed, but not entirely surprised. Your craft does protect you and assists you.
Indeed.
An odd use of air, which just means before.
During a recent voyage, I found sadly the adventurous on a little isle that had escaped from the terror of the sea. What did you do with each other for that?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh boy.
Ugh.
So, yeah, don't bring me up to my ex. She might still be mad. Those of you who are familiar with the story of Circe from the Odyssey, of course, will remember that Odysseus arrived on her island. All his men who he sent to deal with her got turned into pigs. Circe might say that she revealed their true nature. And Hermes came down to protect Odysseus by giving him some molu, a flower that we can in fact gather and I believe grow here.
We gather it but do not grow it.
A magic flower, and the origin of our exclamatory phrase "holy moly," to protect him from her enchantments. And when he did not in fact transform, he overpowered Circe, and then they spent several months together. Yeah. Eventually she turned all his men back and gave them directions to the underworld, actually, and succor along the way back. Ooh. The Chaos Stone is active.
So, I can improve these things, which basically means that they can potentially give me elements when I use them.
Elements like the 4-element tags on your boons?
Yes.
Nice.
So,
Time to use the jetpack.
Yep. Let's get rid of that.
Tula's here.
Yes.
Can
so
we take the kitty?
We'll take the kitty.
Yay!
That does mean that I want to swap out my Arcana,
Why is that?
because Tula's ability gives me a Death Defiance. The Arcana Strength gives me bonuses when I have no Death Defiances.
So, time to take advantage of Death Defiance and not of Hercules.
Yes.
I guess it makes sense that Hercules and cats would be opposed, given that he famously wears that lion skin everywhere.
I sense a great weight bearing down on you, young one. Not quite as bad as what Atlas had, but still.
What do you advise is my next move, Commander? To pursue our enemy in the underworld? Or come to the aid of Olympus?
Well, not that we all agree here, but I say go wherever you can get the stuff we need the most right now. We got some stuff down here that we got up there and so on, right?
I suppose. We found this after all.
Alright, so I have Tula. Let's check out this mysterious obelisk.
Oh,
I can see even deeper now.
so this is specifically little preset trials of different areas with different loadouts. That what do you get for it as a specific?
So you get Stardust, which is a resource that you can turn into other useful things. So, let's just see what one of these is like. I might do a couple of these since I don't think I have time for a full run.
That makes sense.
But I'll probably do more later so I can farm things when,
Without progressing the storyline off camera.
Yep.
And there's chaos. Oh. Don't you just love them?
Let's see, I'm using the coat, so this is great.
Silent.
Is there I thought I heard, no, never mind.
I don't think so. I did want to just mention Atlas, since Skelly, or Skelemaeus, brought him up. Atlas was another Titan, condemned to hold the sky up above the earth, and so the entire world essentially rests upon his shoulders. That's the bit that is commonly known, of course. Oh, Zeus, you would think very much the same as your father, wouldn't you? One thing about Atlas is that his daughters are the Hesperides, the goddesses, nymphs, I don't know what you want to call them, who guard the golden apple tree in the mythical West. The one that all of the golden apples that make up the god's immortality come from. And the same one that Heracles had to steal an apple from. Heracles, quite famously, taking on Atlas's burden, so Atlas could get the apple for him, And Atlas, of course, was not going to pick it back up afterwards, but Heracles tricked him by saying that he hadn't really gotten quite adjusted up there, and could Atlas take it back on for a second while he rearranged himself, and then he just left. Because they're all jerks. That's where I'm going with that. They're all jerks, they're all tricksters, they're all liars and philanderers, and quite famously, I believe it was Plato or Socrates via Plato, who said that the stories of the gods that, no, it can't have been. It was one of the poets. Why am I getting that mixed up? I should look up who that was. It sounds kind of Pindarish, so it might have been Pindar, who said that the stories of the gods that give them these mortal flaws are to make up for the fact that they're incomprehensible. We can't conceive of unflawed beings as flawed as we are. But it makes them sound kind of like eldritch horrors, doesn't it? Ooh, something fated.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but now I don't have enough. Well, I'll do it anyway. Having spent the money on that, I think I now don't have enough money to buy things here even with the discount. Okay, I've just... oh, I don't need any of those because this is the trial where I'm buff as hell.
You sense it too, don't you? A strange feeling in the air. We have rooms of chaos all around us. Are you testing them now? Perhaps all of us are.
Mini boss time.
Oh, yes.
I do like in the design the way that the shade spiller looks like it's got 3 of those guys just wrapped up in it.
Ow. Wait, why am I caring about that?
Let's go. In the name of Hades.
Hi, Auntie Hestia.
Now.
So the trial just takes you to the end of the area, right?
Yeah.
So there she's referring to uses of that golden apple from the Hesperides I was talking about. The nectar of the gods, which keeps them young forever. The distraction of beautiful rivals, the love story, if it is that, between Atalanta and Hippomenos. So Atalanta, famously raised by a bear in the service of Artemis, wanted to be a maiden in the service of Artemis forever, but once reunited with her royal father was tasked with marrying to carry on the family line. And she said, fine, I will marry the man who can beat me in a foot race, knowing that nobody could. But anybody who tries and loses, we kill, okay? And her father agreed. Or perhaps her father was the one who suggested it, or you never know. And so many people tried, and many people were slain, because she was beautiful, but beat them all in the foot race, because of course she did. Until Hippomenos prayed to Aphrodite for help, and she gave him 3 golden apples to throw down in her path to slow her down along the race. So every time she started to overtake him, Hippomenos would drop one of the apples, and Atalanta would be so diverted that she would stop to pick it up. He won the race, and they married. And coming back to cats, or at least lions, the one time we know of them making love, they did so inside a temple of Athena, who was so offended that she turned them into lions for some amount of time. Not very long, a few years. Not very long. Not very long in God terms. Certainly not their entire rest of their lives. Because there was a myth that lions couldn't mate. I don't really know how they thought they created cubs, but there was a story that lions couldn't have sex. Of course, the fate versus free will question is quite at question any time we have a story including the fates. But interestingly, a question that people continue into the realm of science as well as the realm of belief. I've heard a number of people talk about whether everything is preordained by the movement of subatomic particles at the beginning of the universe. I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I think that's a little silly. But I've never been a person of faith either, so. Or at least not since I was 4.
Oh, hey, this is much easier to outrun with, oh, God. Right, I got that.
Much easier to outrun with what?
I had Hermes boon that made projectiles slower. So a lot easier to outrun the sheep ball. Oops. Not that it matters.
Do not be a sheep.
Ow.
Atalanta is one of my absolute favorite figures in Greek mythology. And if you're interested in hearing me talk more about Atalanta, I do actually have ooh. Shiny new info, as well as some stardust. Because after all, aren't we all made of stardust? But there is an episode of the Let's Talk About Myths Baby podcast where I talk about Atalanta and asexuality. I've also written a short story about Atalanta, but it has yet to be picked up anywhere, and who knows if it ever will. Oh, look,
I was a little distracted.
Spot.
Yep, I was a little distracted because I was fighting. But did you mention that like Atalanta still managed to like marry and all that without losing Artemis's favor?
Oh, that's true. I didn't get to that. So Atalanta did retain Artemis's favor, since she was not. Which is unusual, right? Because we think about Callisto, one of Artemis's nymphs, who was I would say cast out, but more transformed into a bear for being, getting pregnant. Atalanta did marry and get pregnant. She bore a son, Parthenopaios, which is basically means maiden-faced, a name very much honoring Artemis again. And he, too, was a devotee of Artemis during his lifetime. He went on to be one of the 7 against Thebes, which is part of the Oedipus cycle. I guess since I've mentioned it, I should talk a bit about the Oedipus cycle. So, we mainly talk about the trilogy of plays by Sophocles, the Oedipus Tyrannos, or Oedipus Rex, if you're feeling Latin-y, Oedipus the King, which, it starts with Oedipus already having been king of Thebes for some time, having his many children with his mother Jocasta, and none of them realizing how they are related. And there is a plague over the realm, and Oedipus is trying to find out how to lift it. Now, Zeus admitting there that the underworld deities are much older and stranger than the Olympians, which is generally how these pantheons are constructed. There's an older chthonic or earthly or underworld set of gods, and then the gods of the upper air, as it were. So that's the start, is the story of... So Oedipus, Oedipus Rex starts already at the point of being king of Thebes. The story of Oedipus, of course, starts much earlier with his father Laios getting a prophecy that his son will kill him and marry his mother, which is terrifying. So what does he do? He, his wife bears a son, and he sets him out to die. But as with so many of these stories, trying to subvert a prophecy just puts it into action, and so Oedipus, not knowing his parentage, as a young man goes out upon the road, gets into an altercation with a stranger, who happens to be Laios, and kills him. And then, on his way traveling to Thebes, becomes a hero by outriddling the Sphinx, who is terrorizing the countryside, and is rewarded with the hand of the queen, who is unwittingly his own mother. So they have 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. And then there is a bad plague, and it turns out that the reason is the gross impiety of having children with your own mother. And so Oedipus, upon learning that this is the case, puts out his own eyes and wanders out away from the city in exile. So when Oedipus goes into exile, his 2 sons are left in charge of the city, and they decide on a way of sharing the rule that is, in hindsight, silly and obviously flawed, which is that every year one of them will rule and the other will go into exile out of the city. Pretty much immediately, the one who gets to be in charge first just says, and I'm in charge and my brother is exiled forever. So the exiled brother goes and collects a band of 6 great warriors from around the country, around the countryside, I guess I should say, because they're not really related city-states other than by language. And those become the 7 against Thebes. They basically have a Pyrrhic victory and both brothers die, and that's where Antigone happens. So that whole thing is started because one of the person who takes over after that, not actually of the line of the kings, but a good friend of theirs, Creon, takes over and says, okay, well, the brother who attacked the city is not allowed to be buried. He was in exile and he attacked our citizens. And Antigone's like, he's my brother though, and you're not gonna do that. And that's basically where we get the story of Antigone coming in. So that's the whole thing there, and Atalanta tying in because her son Parthenopaios is one of the 7 against Thebes. You see why I compare Greek mythology to, like, Marvel or DC, right? Like, there are tons of versions of everything, and it all interconnects. I've been talking so much today, I've barely taken note of what this trial is.
This is basically all Zeus all the time.
Oh, Zeus and Hera squabble. Well, that's traditional.
Choose one, spurn the other.
I do like Hera's voice actor. I mean, they generally do a great job in these games. Zeus is displeased. But still pleased enough to give you a boon.
Mm-hmm.
Enough money to get everything.
I have gotten almost all of Zeus's boons. I wound up swapping out one of Hera's boons, so I'm no longer eligible for the King's Ransom. Because it requires that you have
Boons of Hera.
one of Hera's core boons. So
Little by little, we shall restore the old order. Thank you for your service.
At last.
I've vanquished Cronus. Everything you've trained me to do. Yet still you stand in my way. Still more to learn even now.
There's always more to learn.
And always. Tinge of expression, yes, yes. I haven't seen you rid yourself of it, and pretends to rid yourself of me. You consuming flame.
I can't remember if I've noticed or commented on this before, but I was just observing that Hecate's hat, when seen from above, has that same sort of labyrinth pattern that you see on the ground in the middle and on her belt ornamentation. Not very practical for a hat, but kind of nice. Besides, they're gods. When did practicality ever come into it? Oh no, sheep.
Oh. Ah. Went on a little farther than I anticipated. I almost got hit.
Flames of ignium burn bright for you. Mastery is an everlasting pursuit.
Ignium.
Return to shadow now.
Thank you, Headmistress. Go, lady. Return to shadow now.
And that is trial complete. Favor of chaos granted.
Chaos should be pleased.
And with that, I think we are in a good position to stop for the day. Thank you all so much for watching along. I hope you enjoyed my many rants and and Tortoise's excellent gameplay. We shall see you once again, I believe, next weekend. Until then, keep learning, friends.